Should we fear Washington? Well, these avengers of money, if you will, 3 former Treasury secretaries saying that gridlock is the biggest threat to our economy, but they're also bemoaning what they call the least productive Congress ever. All at the same time, we're looking at one of the most incredible stock markets ever. So you could argue that their incompetence or intransigence or just refusal to move has actually propelled this market to these multiple highs. Susan Solovic says that from the looks of it, the less Washington does, the better. But Chuck Rocha says that the lawmakers need to do more to help. So, Susan, your argument is if this is what gets you a rally, then Congress keep doing nothing.
Well, here's the situation with the way Congress is right now and the president in the gridlock. That is a better thing for small businesses because we cannot afford any more of this administration's anti-business policies and legislation. Just this week, the Senate passed Reform Bill 544 for the Secret Science Reform Act.
Sure, 544 Secret Science.
You know that one, yes, absolutely. And it's going to make the EPA be transparent about the data they use to set regulations with independent analysis because regulations are stifling small business.
But to be fair, I think what these 3 Treasury guys are saying, you know, 1 Republican, 2 Democrats, is that Congress itself is failing, Chuck, to address the bigger issue, as is the president, of our entitlement spending, our debt that's spiraling out of control, and that normally that is a big problem, and ignoring it is an even bigger problem. Do you agree?
I do agree, and I think that no matter what happens, the economy continues to go. Now, whether it goes up or it goes down, if Congress doesn't do anything, there are certain people who benefit from the marketplace of what we're in today. And I think you've seen the richest among us get even richer. I think what we have to figure out is how do we get this economy working for everybody?
Their point is our debt is choking us alive. Our refusal to address entitlement spending, Democrat and Republicans saying it's bad, and Democrat and Republicans are to blame. Do you agree with that part, Susan, that they've got to get off their ass and do something?
They need to do something, but it's not going to happen under the current situations. So that's why.
Don't be an Obama hater here and just blame it all on him.
Well, I'm not
Takes
just
2
blaming.
to tango,
it
Cupcake.
does. They're not willing to compromise at all. But I do agree that, you know, we've got to cut the federal deficit. We've got to quit the entitlement spending. That is choking
both sides
off
have talked about that, but Chuck, they're not doing it. And I think to these guys lament, and again, they're nerds, but they do math, they know math, and they've concluded that mathematically this can't go on.
So here's the solution of what's really happening. Everybody knows from my southern drawl I am not a great economist, but I am a political consultant. And here's what's happening in the halls of Congress, whether you're a Democrat or you're a Republican. The congressional districts have been made super safe for conservatives, super safe for liberals, and there's no momentum to compromise. And without that compromise, each one are worried about being primary from their right,
you're right about
or primary from their left.
I think you're right about that. And I think each one should step forward and risk losing that re-election.
I agree. We need somebody who is willing to make a bold stance and say, I don't know if you do ever watch House of Cards. The president.
Love it.
Yeah, okay. So Kevin Spacey says, I am not going to.
He kills people, too, which is also very admirable.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? But he did say, I mean, they didn't stick to it. I hope I'm not giving anything away. But that he was not going to run for president because he wanted to get something done.
But he lied.
He did.
Yes, I don't want to give it away, but he lied and he runs for president anyway.
Yeah.
No. Is there the fortitude for this sort of thing? Because the American people, I think, if you're just straight with them, would say, no, we don't want this charade.
Right. No, Obama administration talks about transparency. There is no transparency in this administration. So we have got to make small businesses need tax reform. They need tax reform for personal.
But you're looking after your own selfish little interest there.
I am looking at. Oh, now wait just a minute. Right. Do you know that the majority of employees in this country work for small businesses?
I understand that. I understand. But all I'm saying, Susan, I love you to death, and Chuck, as I do you, that I think that both parties have to come to the table and say, this is serious. We have our oxes, gore them now, because if we don't, we're all going to get gored.
There's a reason why back in the good old days there was some kind of compromise where you could get Democrats and Republicans in the room to do what's the right thing for the American people. The polarization of our parties, the extreme right and the extreme left, has left us to what these Treasury secretaries are talking about today. The instability in the market, the instability in business stops everybody from hiring. It stops
freezes of wages.
By
the way, none of these guys, when they were in office, did anything to address that. I might stress that, but that's neither.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, there's 2 things in this town that really matter, and it's money and politics and getting reelected. We should focus on the American people and not those things.
What is that old saying? Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts something.
I know it was a small business guy who said it.
I'm sure it was. The very smart guy.
Thank you both very, very much.